Have you ever seen a flower so big it could shade a whole picnic blanket? One that smells sweeter than a candy shop and glows like a rainbow at sunset? No? Well, buckle up, little explorer, because you're about to hear the story of the biggest, boldest and most mysterious flower the world has ever known. It all started with a man named Brother Ben. He had vanished deep into the jungles of Africa and was gone for years. Many believed he'd been eaten by crocodiles or carried away by jungle spirits, but one day, poof, he came back. And what did he bring? Not gold, not treasure, but a flower. And not just any flower, a giant orchid with petals as wide as a doorway and colors that shimmered in the sunlight. Ben handed the dried orchid to his old friend, a clever explorer named Toby Gray. Toby's eyes sparkled the moment he saw it. This flower wasn't just rare, it was mythical. People had only whispered about it in jungle tales. They called it the Orchid of the Ancients. Toby took the dried flower back to England. People gathered to see it, jaws dropping and cameras clicking. Scientists were amazed. Gardeners gasped. Collectors wanted to own it. At a grand plant auction filled with chatter and excitement, a cheerful young boy named Max Sunbeam made a mistake. Oh yes, a big one. Max accidentally raised his hand and bid a huge amount of gold coins on the wrong flower. Whoops! His heart sank. His father, a serious man with no time for wild dreams, told Max he was on his own from now on. But Max wasn't going to sit around and mope. No way. He came up with a wild idea. What if he found the valley where the giant orchid came from? What if he brought back a living one that would fix everything? And just like that, an adventure began. Max met with Toby, and the two of them, with a small team of explorers, packed their maps, gear and courage and set sail for Africa. The journey was long. They crossed oceans, hiked through deep jungles, and followed twisting rivers into the heart of mystery. Every step brought new surprises. They saw zebras racing across the plains, monkeys playing tricks from the trees, and hippos snoring in the water. But soon, strange things started to happen. Their path was blocked by travelers in long robes, desert traders with smiles that didn't quite reach their eyes. Their leader warned them to turn back, saying some treasures are better left untouched. Then, poof! He and his men disappeared into the night, and so did half the explorers' food. Still, Max and Toby pressed on. They reached a land where warriors painted their faces with thunderbolts and danced with spears under the moonlight. This was the Thunderdrum tribe, guardians of the Shadow Mountains. Their chief told them of the Orchid of the Ancients, a flower that only bloomed once every 100 years, under starlight and silence. Many had searched for it. Few had returned. The tribe sent a young guide to help, Timo, a clever boy with quick feet and a wild laugh. Timo could read the jungle like a book and speak to birds with whistles. He led them over cliffs, through misty swamps and into dark forests filled with buzzing sounds and glowing bugs. But then, thump, 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 the earth shook, trees swayed, birds scattered. Out stepped a giant gorilla, fur as black as night, eyes glowing like fireflies. He was as big as a house and twice as strong. This was Conga, the guardian of the secret valley. No one moved. Even Max held his breath. But Conga wasn't angry. He sniffed the air, snorted once, and stomped back into the trees. The explorers had passed the test. The path was now open. They climbed higher and higher until the air grew cool and the clouds kissed their cheeks. And then, there it was, the valley of the giant orchid. It looked like a dream. Orchids grew tall and wide, their petals curling like waves. The colors, oh, the colors, gold, violet, crimson, sapphire. The scent was so sweet you could almost taste it. Bees the size of muffins buzzed lazily from flower to flower, and glowing butterflies danced in the sunbeams. But just as they began gathering a few seeds and tiny shoots, enough to share. But not too much, a familiar voice rang out. The desert trader had returned. Malik and his men had followed them, and they wanted everything. Before they could act, the jungle roared. Conga was back. The giant gorilla pounded his chest and let out a thunderous growl that shook the rocks. Malixmen scattered like frightened mice. The valley was safe once more. Max and Toby gathered what they needed, gave thanks to the jungle, and began their journey home. Back in England, Max planted the seeds with care in a greenhouse filled with warmth and light. Months passed, and one day it happened. The first orchid bloomed. It was every bit as magical as the one from the valley. But Max didn't sell it. Instead, he built something special. A place called the Orchid Ark, where children could see the flower, learn about the jungle, and dream of faraway places. The orchid was no longer just a treasure. It was a story, a lesson, and a gift. And what's the lesson, brave explorer? Sometimes mistakes lead to the greatest adventures. Sometimes the things we're looking for can't be bought or sold. They have to be discovered with heart, courage, and a little help from friends, and maybe even a giant gorilla. And who knows, one day you might be the one to find the next great secret hidden deep in the world's wildest places. Now tell me, would you be brave enough to follow the path to the Valley of the Giant Orchid?